you come out of that #2 train and it shoots out of that tunnel, man, you walked into a whole new world, man. This is it. You're in the United States now. The Bronx is really important because once you leave the islands, whether you come from Puerto Rico or Santo Domingo or Cuba, or you go to the other island, you know, Brooklyn or Manhattan or Queens, then you arrive here, you're on the mainland. This is where everything spreads out. The first time going there was as a child of my father. And there were always these Latin spectaculars. They showed you a movie and then they had what we call Latino wardrobe. So you would see a singer, you would see a comedian, a juggler. You'd always seen all those that they would drive a car onto the stage. You know, some local dealership had a deal going on, so they drive a new car onto the stage and show it to you. Some people find it impossible to believe, but it's true. You know, Federico Pagani was a promoter, had been a promoter in New York from the 30s on, the only promoter that worked that did Latin dances. And he threw a show where he put up on the marquee, you know, tonight only, you have Tito Puente, Celia Cruz, Eddie Palmieri, Joe Cuba, the LeBron brothers, Johnny Pacheco. I mean, he had every name in the business up on this marquee for $5, 2 shows. $5 each show. And my father said, come on, we're going to go see the show. We go in, and the show was at 5 o'clock. And 5 o'clock came by, nothing happens. But that's natural, right? You know, PRT time, Puerto Rican time, right? So you got 5, you got 5:10, nothing happens. 5:15, nothing happens. 5:20, nothing. Now people are starting to get restless, and you got to understand that Puerto Rico holds like 3,000 people. It's the 6th largest theater in New York City at the time. Capacity-wise, it was the 6th largest theater. And people are restless, and they're throwing stuff up on stage, and the guy through Federico comes out, and he's like dodging, you know, napkins and plates and whatever else they throw up. And cue me, cue me, cue me. And people go quiet, you know. There will be no show tonight. Man, it's like shocked silence, right? And he quickly follows up and he tells her, the truth is that my mother needed an operation, and I needed the money, and you know, I couldn't just ask for it, so I decided to do this. And, you know, you people have been so nice to me over the years with all my dances. People are like, there's like 3,000 Puerto Ricans now. You got to imagine, man. You would think they would rush the stage and kill this guy, but he had been responsible all those years. So somebody yells out, fuck it, man. Let him keep the money, right? It's only $5. And they start filing out, man. And Federico yells out, and don't forget, tell your friends, there's another show at 10. You know? When you dance a mambo, when you dance in salsa, man, you have to like be very on top of it. And there's the solo, and there's, you know, the break, and the drum be playing, and they mark it, and mark it, and mark it, and mark it. And then it becomes this whole thing where you become one with the drum. The whole audience becomes one because the ritual of the beat is going at a certain tempo. And that creates, you know, that, what I call the hypnotic. Once you hit that cycle that it's happening, then you're already there, you're elevated. Then when the dancer moves in and he starts connecting with the drummer, which essentially is what hip-hop is all about, connecting with the drum and the bass, then you're marking it. And if you're able to anticipate what he's doing, or that communication becomes so strong that you both are hitting at the same time, that's the moment where the whole room actually lifts up. You know, there's a spiritual aspect of it.
Contento llevan su cargamento para la ciudad, para la ciudad.
Nobody cared about the Bronx. It was a joke, you know. The city was going through its own bankruptcy. I think that was around the time that the feds told New York to drop dead. If anyone were to ask me to characterize my teenage years, you know, the fear factor was running into a gang. And it didn't matter, because you could run into the Imperial Bachelors, you could run into the Golden Guineas.
The turbans, the dragons, the Latin kings, the drinkses.
You could run into the ministers, you could run into, you know, the spades.
Oh, God, renegades.
Whoever it was, you were gonna have trouble if you weren't affiliated. Because they had things like Get Whitey Day. Now look at me. You know, I could stand there for hours and tell somebody I'm Puerto Rican, but in that kind of atmosphere, they're not gonna ask you if you're Puerto Rican. So they had Get Whitey Day for 2 years in a row. People running around smacking people because they were light colored, you know? That's the kind of bullshit that was happening up here.